Good right here. Aquí está bien. Right here is good. Touch gloves. God bless.
2 vacant belts on the line, the WBC Continental Americas and the WBO Global title. And Chris, I know you're playing title belt bingo on your scorecard next to me. WBO Global title, that's a new one. It was renamed in October of last year, formerly known as the WBO Transoceanic belt, in case you were wondering.
That's a mouthful.
Yes. Well, one of these two gentlemen will be walking away with those 2 belts. Janibek, as he prefers to be known as, a single name. It's always good as a fighter with name recognition. He's 5-0. 2 knockouts, 26 years old, from Kazakhstan. As I mentioned, his trainer is the former trainer of the year, as well as IBF junior welterweight champ as a fighter, Buddy McGirt. And manager is Janibek Alimkhanuly. Christian Olivas is 16-4 with 13 knockouts in his professional career. Olivas in the black trunks is 27 years old and has fought predominantly in Mexico. Although he is from California originally, he has fought twice in the U.S., both losing by decision. This will be his 3rd fight on U.S. soil, and it's a tough task against Janibek, who is really a guy who, you talked about it, Janibek Alimkhanuly has a prototypical fighter he likes. Strong amateur background, turning pro around 25, 26, 27 years old, and a lot of upside, and Janibek has all of those things.
Also southpaws.
Yes.
Good left hook there from Olivas.
Olivas is coming off a loss in February against Tyler Howard. Howard, who was undefeated and still is. Olivas losing that fight as a split decision in 8 rounds. Janibek is coming off a win by TKO in February, where he defeated Steve Martinez after his corner threw in the towel.
You see Olivas' face is reddening up already from those jabs from Janibek, who's been letting them fly since the opening bell.
Janibek now living in Northridge, California. His family, his wife, and 3 kids are still back in Kazakhstan. He says his family is waiting for him to bring a belt home. That's what you do when you move to California to fight in the Klimas Boxing Laboratory.
That's right. I like what I'm seeing from Janibek right now. He's staying very, very calm and composed, mixing up his jabs and his body shots really well. Excellent movement, very, very smooth in the way that he moves around the ring and able to make Olivas miss consistently.
We saw another Klimas fighter earlier, and that was Alexander Vesputin, who won in a 10-round unanimous decision. Janibek does not throw the volume of punches that Vesputin does.
No, doesn't have the power or the explosiveness either, but is certainly a very, very smooth, rhythmic boxer. And I like his eyes. He's seeing everything. He's staying within a range and keeping his opponent at a range where he can see his whole body.
You can't talk about the Klimas boxing stable without mentioning Vasily Lomachenko, who we will see later on tonight on ESPN Plus, taking on $1 million Anthony Crawler. The WBO lightweight title defense of Lomachenko. Olivas finishes off the 1st round with a body shot to Janibek. This is a scheduled 10-round middleweight fight. There you see Janibek's corner, Buddy McGirt.
When you get to the rope, don't come up. Just stay ahead. Bob, keep touching. Bob, get your distance. Okay? Very good.
The great 2-division world champion, Buddy McGirt, who is also from Long Island, just like myself.
I sneak that in there, don't you?
Oh, I have to. We're going to see some replays here of some brilliant movement by Janibek, sliding out. Ooh, actually, this is when he got caught. That was the one left hook that I said that Olivas had landed well. But for the most part, it was all Janibek using that right southpaw jab, followed up with some straight left hands and some sneaky body work as well.
Janibek is left-handed. He says he does everything left-handed except for eat. He eats with his right hand, which I would think if you're left-handed, that would be the first thing you learn to do left-handed, but apparently not. Going against the grain a little bit.
Maybe you know, one hand's for eating, the other one's for fighting, just in case.
Straight left hand and an uppercut from Janibek.
when I spoke to the great Buddy McGirt about his young fighter, Janibek, he said that he's a really, really strong body puncher.
Haven't seen a ton of body punches yet through the opening round. Been working behind that right jab, as Chris mentioned, and following it up with straight lefts. Has not gone down to the body of Olivas.
You can tell Janibek has a very educated lead hand. He's hooking off of it, doubling it, tripling it.
When you say an educated lead hand, meaning that sets up everything else and he knows how to use it?
Right. Speaking from a ring IQ standpoint, having an educated left jab, one that's been time tested and utilized and trained in order to set up your power punches. Which it seems that Janibek is doing that right now. It's still early yet. You see him analyzing. He's got full 10 rounds tonight, so he's taking his time.
You look at his body type too, and kind of the way he presents himself in the ring. He's deceptively slippery.
Yes. He's got very smooth movement, but also he's. If you notice again, I mentioned earlier about where you put your body weight in terms of your feet. He fights off his back foot quite a bit. He's not in the center of the ring. Hard to hit, but consistently busy with that lead hand.
Olivas aggressive over the last 30 seconds, trying to find the right distance to catch Janibek.
And we mentioned the similarities of the Klimas crew of boxers, and we had one earlier tonight in Vesputin, and these guys are almost opposite in terms of their styles.
There's one of those left body shots that Buddy McGirt was talking to Chris Algieri about before the fight. Not a ton of power behind it as Janibek with the straight left.
One thing I saw in Janibek's last fight when he stopped Steve Martinez, another New Yorker, is that he grew round by round. As he developed his timing and his rhythm and was able to land more and more punches, you saw him become more of a more confident fighter, and he was throwing bigger punches. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that here again.
And he's countered very well here in the early going of this one. Leaning into Olivas, working that tight uppercut with the left hand as Janibek closing the gap with the 27-year-old Christian Olivas, who is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. A steady first 2 rounds for Janibek. Started the 3rd round of a scheduled 10 between Janibek Alimkhanuly against Christian Olivas. This middleweight bout, Eric Rothman, former world champ Chris Algieri here with you ringside. The lead up to Lomachenko-Krola later on tonight at Staples Center in Los Angeles, as the crowd is starting to get deeper and noisier and waiting for some fireworks. Janibek has that capability, not necessarily known as a knockout artist, but when he sits on that left hand, anything is possible. Is a very accomplished amateur career. Olympian back in 2016, gold medal at the Kazakh National Championships that same year, and then a President's Cup gold medal as well back in 2014.
Pretty obvious stylistic change here from Janibek. He's abandoned the jabs this round and has come forward, fighting more of a shell position and throwing a lot of hard body shots with that left hand.
And what's interesting too is Olivas makes adjustments going up against the southpaw Janibek, who catches Olivas with the left. Is Olivas making a very concerted effort to get his lead foot on the outside of Janibek's?
Right, that's day one fighting a southpaw stuff. Getting your foot to the outside. Keep your opponent in between your punching range, which is in between your feet. Good move, but not much else being done by Olivas at this point.
Janibek, right hook. Olivas has found the jab a few times, but no power punches following the jab. Janibek goes to the body. Surprised that we haven't seen more body shots from Janibek here early on?
No, I don't think so. I think it's early yet. Like I said, we've got full 10 rounds. He came out, he jabbed well the first 2 rounds, got his timing, got his range, and now this round he's just closing the distance and looking to land power shots.
Sneaks in with an uppercut with the left hand as Janibek. 2 counter punches follow from Olivas. Under a minute to go here in round number 3. Third fight for Olivas in the U.S.
Janibek looking very comfortable right now. Good body shot.
Back with that left hand straight to the stomach of Olivas. And back to the jab. Very, very steady.
Those left hands to the body are having a big effect on Olivas.
A little low there, says referee Ray Corona. Janibek has fought through now 3 rounds with a big smile on his face, as he has dictated this fight so far. Good left hand, straight to the nose, and a combination behind it from Janibek. Powerful punches from Janibek towards the end of the 3rd round, and struts a little bit as he heads back to his corner.
Really like the use of the uppercut from Janibek. We're going to see a nice replay of several of these little popping left uppercuts. And I think the idea here was to set up the body shots. You know, he's throwing this uppercut, he's popping Olivas' head up, getting him to slide his guard up just a bit, and then come down with the straight left to the body and the left hook, also the right hook. He was very industrious in that round with his uppercuts and his body work.
Obviously, things not going the way Christian Olivas would have hoped. What does he need to do to change things up here?
He needs to throw some punches. You know, he's really just walking in with his hands up, trying to get close, and he's getting tattooed on the way in and on the way out. He needs to just let his hands go, at least put some leather on Janibek, so he just doesn't walk away with it like he has been. He's been letting Janibek do whatever he wants.
Janibek, who, as Chris mentioned, coming off that TKO win against Steven Martinez, he has fought a couple of notable opponents. Split decision win back in November against Vaughn Alexander, and then in his debut, a fight that was ringside for a win, a unanimous decision against Carlos Galvan. 5-0 so far for Janibek. Widening that stance, not letting Olivas get inside, working the jab and following it up with a straight left hand. That's been the recipe for Janibek here into the 4th round.
Another thing you see from the Klinas stable is that the guys move quick. You know, this is only Janibek's 6th pro fight. He's fighting a 20-fight veteran with 13 knockouts, 13 knockout wins. You know, so it's for all intents and purposes a very dangerous opponent.
Janibek splitting the guard of Olivas with that straight left behind a 2-punch combination. And a strong right hand, and Janibek goes to the body. Janibek now taunting Olivas.
Olivas shaking his head, saying that didn't hurt, but that usually is a surefire sign that it did hurt.
Back to the right jab. 3 punches from Janibek, 5 punches, nothing answered from Olivas. Janibek throwing and landing at will.
Beautiful work here from Janibek.
The confidence growing from Janibek as Olivas has not had an answer. That's a perfect example right there with Janibek back on the ropes, Chris, where Olivas seemed to have position but threw no punches.
Yeah, he's just not getting off.
Left hook finding the jaw of Olivas.
Janibek is doing a very good job at just smothering any kind of offense that does come from Olivas, which isn't much at this point.
Janibek back to the body. Now Olivas showing some life. Olivas has just been a defensive crouch through most of this 4th round. It has not deterred Janibek at all.
Olivas actually landed two pretty decent right hooks to the body of Janibek that may have gotten his attention.
An uppercut. They fight in the pocket. Janibek caught with a right hand from Olivas. Olivas swinging and missing with that lead left.
There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico.
Janibek, Alimkhanuly looking for those 2 vacant belts.
A replay of this right hook that had Olivas in all types of trouble. You'll see Janibek using that jab, goes right back to the straight left hand. Big smile on his face because he has this man hurt, knows he has him in great position. Pops another straight left hand, popping Olivas' head back. Great round, very dominant round for Janibek.
WBC Continental Americas title as well as the WBO Global title, both vacant and both on the line here in this bout scheduled for 10 rounds. And for Janibek, and a man whose family is halfway across the world in Kazakhstan, his wife, 2 sons, and his daughter, I'm sure watching at home and excited at the prospect of dad finishing this fight rather, with 2 belts over his shoulders. Janibek using that superior footwork, sliding outside of Olivas when Olivas is trying to get that position. The lead foot. That left lead foot from Olivas, so important working against the southpaw. And Janibek, for Olivas to get that foot on the outside. And Janibek has done a great job of outmaneuvering Olivas.
Yeah, very impressive footwork so far from Janibek. Also, that right jab has been very, very consistent. Just popping Olivas, keeping him off balance, keeping him from mounting any kind of significant offense.
There's the jab. The cherry on top of that combination is the straight left. Now an uppercut from Janibek. Referee Greg Corona warning Janibek about holding the back of the head of Olivas.
Janibek has been making his full arsenal work tonight. The jab, the uppercuts, the body work, the straight left hands, the 1-2s, the 1-1-2s. Impressive work offensively so far from Janibek.
An uppercut, back to the jab.
So we'll counter uppercut into the mix, why not?
Seems like the playbook that was outlined by trainer Buddy McGirt has been followed to a T.
Buddy is one of the rare trainers who not only was a great fighter and a boxer puncher, but actually trains good boxer punchers. We saw Kovlev's rematch with Alvarez, where he won his title back. He came out and he boxed. He still has power, so he is a puncher as well. It's great to see Buddy McGirt be able to utilize his own style and his own tricks with his fighters.
Right hook from Janibek. And one thing too, we have quite a few Klimas boxers in this card tonight, and none share the same trainer. So that's obviously a part of it. It's finding trainers that are specific and right for the specific fighter that Klimas brings into his camp.
And that's something that I think that Klimas understands very well, is that the fighter-trainer relationship is really important. A lot of that is personal. It's not just about styles. It's not just about what's going on in the ropes.
Janibek has seemed to have found something with Buddy McGirt.
I'd say looking very sharp so far.
Uppercut again from Janibek. Follows it up with a right hook and a straight left, and back to the jab. The amount of punches that Janibek has thrown and landed compared to Olivas has been enormous.
That was a better round for Olivas. He was actually put on more pressure, threw more punches. He just didn't get much done.
Yeah. It just seems like for every 10 punches from Janibek, there's 1, 2, maybe 3 from Olivas, if that.
Hey, you're boxing beautiful, but I need the uppercut here. Just one time. Trust me. Okay? He's dead. Tell him the guy's dead. Okay? Jab, back him up now. What round is it? Round 6. Push him back now.
Dale ver cómo te sientas, güey. ¿Para qué te levantas y sacrificas, güey? Vámonos, pa, ¿eh? Ve a dónde vas todo el tiempo y no esperes. Si tú lo estás viendo, estamos hablando, güey. ¿Estás escuchando? Mírame, güey. Vámonos, pa, ¿eh? Mira, güey, vámonos. Vamos, ánimo.
Well, Chris, you talk about the trainer-fighter relationship, and how about that beautiful conversation between Buddy McGirt and Janibek's assistant and translator in the corner, with Buddy saying, trust me, this guy's dead. Hit him with an uppercut to the body, something you talked about earlier in this fight.
Yeah, it's a shot that Buddy as the trainer of Janibek, really believes that his man has a very powerful left hand to the body, and he's imploring his charge to come out and utilize it in this round.
I think it's really interesting. It goes to the conversation we had in the last round. It's fun to hear that conversation with the trainer imploring his fighters. Trust me, I've been here before. I know what I'm doing.
And when a guy like Buddy McGirt says that, you listen. You listen,
yeah.
And you should trust the man.
We'll see if Janibek goes to that uppercut to the body of Olivas. It's a straight left to the body, back to a right jab. Olivas responds.
That's one of the very special things about Buddy McGirt. Not all great fighters become great trainers. You know, Buddy is definitely an outlier in that situation, because he was a great fighter, great champion, and is turning out to be a great trainer as well.
McGirt, the former IBF Junior Welterweight Champ, WBC Welterweight Champ, also Boxing Writers Association Trainer of the Year back in 2002. There's an uppercut off the side of the face, a glancing blow followed by a three-punch combination from Janibek.
Haven't seen that left uppercut yet that Buddy was asking for.
Yes.
I do see Janibek looking to set it up, though. His body position is there in order to land it. I don't think Olivas is giving him the opportunity, but Janibek needs to make the opportunity.
Seeing Janibek here in the 6th round, serving up a steady dose of straight lefts and right hooks to Christian Olivas. And there is another straight left. Uppercut again to the chin.
And that uppercut shot is what can set up that body shot. Get Olivas thinking that the uppercut's coming to the chin, bring it down to the liver.
Short popping uppercuts. So Janibek has found those pretty consistently throughout this entire fight.
Yeah, and that's something I actually really like about Janibek. You know, he's not a huge puncher, but he's got a nice little pop on his shots.
Another uppercut from Janibek forces Olivas to take a step back.
It seems like Janibek is softening up Olivas with that left hand. All to the head, getting good shots, possibly, potentially, hopefully, setting up that left hook to the body that Buddy wants.
There's a straight left to the body, so that's a start. And an uppercut again.
That's the shot that Buddy, I believe, is calling for. Off of Olivas' right hand, that little outside slip and rip up with that left uppercut to the liver, which Janibek just did beautifully to the chin. Ooh, good.
Counters on the straight left. Janibek jogging back to his corner. You talked about it earlier in the fight, Chris, but in Janibek's last fight against Steven Martinez, how he grew as the fight went on seems to also be the case here tonight against Christian Olivas.
Yeah, you know, it makes sense. You know, he's a cautious guy. He's a boxer first. He comes out and he looks to establish the pace and the range and make sure that he's safe, and then he opens up offensively, which we're going to see a replay here. Janibek letting his hands go, really being busy with the left hand in that round, but everything is set up by the jab, which is, it's textbook. You know, Buddy McGirt has to be proud about that.
We're fast in combinations this round. Okay, how you feeling? What round is this? 7? Okay, we need more. Push the guy back more, Johnny. The guy got no legs.
So Buddy's saying that Olivas has no legs. Push him back, push him back. What does that mean when you hear that from a trainer?
You know, at this point, it's just like what we're seeing. You know, Olivas is not mustering up a lot of offense. It doesn't seem like he can do much damage to Janibek at this point. You know, Buddy wants him to close the show. You know, he's boxed well. He's been able to make a miss. He's been able to hurt his man a few times. Now it's time to, as we say in Brooklyn, bone up and go forward, push the man back. You've already weakened his legs. Let's get him out of there.
7th round between Janibek and Christian Olivas. Eric Rothman, Chris Algieri here with you. Ringside at Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. Top-ranked boxing on ESPN+. Lomachenko and Krolla in our main event later on, preceded by Tommy Carpensi and Gilberto Ramirez in Ramirez's light heavyweight debut. All of these fights on ESPN+ tonight.
Janibek trying to do the two things that Buddy asked for. I want fast combinations this round, and I want you to back them up. So far, so good.
Catches Olivas with that straight left. Has scored numerous times each and every round for Janibek.
Let's take nothing away from Olivas. He is a tough cat. He's in there getting cracked with every hand for every, each hand for every round. But he has not deterred him from coming forward and looking to land shots.
Janibek has been the superior puncher so far. It's that right jab again that splits the guard of Olivas. Inside, short pop, left-handed uppercut from Janibek.
You said earlier, Janibek, not known as a puncher, and I'm seeing why he doesn't have as many knockouts as it may seem, because he does have good pop and he's got great skills. He's just not a very physical guy. He's a smooth boxer. He's very, very smart. His ring IQ is very high. But even what Buddy's asking him to do is move forward, push your man back. He's just not that physical in the ring.
Is that something you can learn as your career goes on?
You can, but I don't know if that's something that Janibek necessarily would serve him well. He's doing such a good job of what he's doing now. I love his style here. He's a boxer puncher, spinning, moving, not getting hit. There's something to say about not taking punches if you don't need to.
And being technically sound while doing it.
Absolutely. Beautiful boxing so far. Now you see Janibek here using feints now, something that we haven't really shown much in the earlier rounds, but just showing more of his boxing IQ and his ability to.
Janibek returns fire with a combination after another one of those quick left-hand uppercuts lands on Olivas to end the seventh round here in LA. We move to the 8th round between Janibek Alimkhanuly and Christian Olivas in the middleweight fight for the vacant WBC Continental Americas and WBO Global title. Janibek has been consistent, sound, and dominant so far through 7 rounds against Olivas. Janibek is 5-0 in his career, the 26-year-old. We welcome in a new audience, a global audience around the world to Staples Center here in Los Angeles, California. Top Rank Boxing from LA, and a little bonus coverage for our friends around the globe as we finish up this WBC Continental Americas and WBO Global title fight between Christian Olivas and Janibek Alimkhanuly in the 8th round before what was scheduled to be the first round of our world feed, which is Mike Alvarado and Arnold Barboza Jr. We are proud to bring you some extra boxing here from Los Angeles. I'm Eric Rothman alongside former world champ Chris Algieri. And we have seen some fantastic fights so far in our undercard as we lead up to our main event between Vasily Lomachenko and Anthony Crolla, and Tommy Karpency and Gilberto Ramirez before that. As Janibek Alimkhanuly, who is 5-0 in his career, has put on a dominant performance so far through 7.5 rounds, Chris, against Christian Olivas.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic boxing display so far from Janibek. He's made everything work tonight. He's used his right jab consistently and throughout. Great defense, good body work, left uppercuts, straight left hands. Very, very dominant performance and very consistent throughout.
Janibek is an, Klimas fighter, as well as his stablemate Vasily Lomachenko. We've talked about it a little bit for our new friends joining us around the globe. What are you looking forward to the most from Lomachenko tonight as he takes on his mandatory WBA title defense against Anthony Crolla?
Honestly, I'm looking to see Anthony Crolla bring his absolute best tonight. You know, this fight means the world to him. This is a huge opportunity against one of the best fighters in the world. And Lomachenko needs to understand this is a very real test, a very stiff challenger, and a very adept champion, ex-champion in the ring with him tonight.
And the fight before that, Gilberto Ramirez against Tommy Karpency, a test for Ramirez, who's moving up to the light heavyweight division for the first time.
Yeah, that's the story of that fight entirely. Is the weight. How is Gilberto Ramirez going to deal with moving up those 7 pounds? And in the boxing ring, 7 pounds can be quite a feat.
Final seconds here of this 8th round between Janibek and Christian Olivas. Sweeping right hook from Janibek. He has worked off the jab and the straight left. Gotten inside on Olivas consistently for some quick left uppercuts. A beautiful evening here in Los Angeles, California, the site of Lomachenko, Crolla, and Top Rank Boxing on ESPN Plus and around the world. We welcome you in to Staples Center. Lomachenko and Crolla, the main event. Karpency, Ramirez preceding it. This is bonus coverage, the final round of Olivas and Alimkhanuly. Coming up next, Mike Alvarado in a super lightweight battle for the NABF Junior Super Lightweight title against undefeated Arnold Barbosa Jr. That fight will be coming up just minutes away. Eric Rothman, former WBO Super Lightweight champion, Chris Algieri with you here at Staples Center. Janibek Alimkhanuly and Christian Olivas.
Round 9 of a scheduled 10 has been more of the same. Janibek in complete control, really having his way with Christian Olivas. Buddy McGirt has been imploring him in between rounds to back his man up, put the pressure on. I think that it seems that Buddy McGirt wants him to get that stoppage, force the issue here.
We've seen some exciting fights on this undercard so far. Another Aegis Klimas fighter, Alexander Vesputin, remaining undefeated. He opened up the card tonight in a unanimous decision victory over Alfredo Blanco. That was followed by Guido Vianello knocking out Lawrence Gabriel in the first round in just 49 seconds. We snuck in a swing bout with Ruben Rodriguez defeating Ramel Snager by a majority decision in 4 rounds. And we are wrapping up Janibek Alimkhanuly and Christian Olivas for 2 vacant titles at the middleweight division. One thing, Chris, we talked about throughout this entire fight is the volume of punches Janibek has thrown. The fact that it seems whatever playbook was drawn up by Buddy McGirt has been followed to a T. He has been extremely consistent, has received nothing but praise in his corner from his trainer. Really only a couple minor tweaks that he's been looking for, but other than that, Janibek has done everything McGirt has asked.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, and former fighter himself, Buddy McGirt should be pleased with Janibek's performance thus far. Like you said, he's been following the directions perfectly, executing, and really just having his way with his man, Christian Olivas, so far. But Olivas has really been coming on this round, putting on a lot of pressure, not landing much, but throwing more punches than he has in some of the earlier rounds.
Left hook from Janibek as Olivas responds. 4 punches, not much power behind them.
Janibek seems to be slowing just a touch in this round. He doesn't have that same pop that he had in many of the earlier rounds.
Janibek in a bit of unfamiliar territory. He won his last fight TKO in the 5th round. He went 8 rounds with Vaughn Alexander, 6 rounds with Carlos Galvan, but now in the 9th and 10th rounds against Olivas. Check on his stamina and see if Olivas, in a last-ditch effort here, can put some pressure on Janibek.
The thing about being a boxer, and maybe not a guy who scores a lot of knockouts, as you go up in class, you have to be in elite condition. 10 rounds, 12 rounds are a long time to be in a ring with a professional fighter. So you got to be in elite condition to be able to box your way to a 10, 12 round decision.
final round, and Christian Olivas, who's 16-4 in his career, going up against a tall Tascan Janibek. You see the headbutt there, Chris.
Yeah, you've got a southpaw and a righty. You know, this is the first one of the night, but that was a pretty nasty headbutt. You know, both men coming in, definitely an accidental clash of heads, which can be quite common when you've got an orthodox and a southpaw fighter fighting each other, just because of the positions of their feet and their head.
Let's go corner to corner as we start the 10th here. If you're Christian Olivas, you're down on the cards. What do you need to do here in the 10th?
He's got to go for broke here. You know, he's got to keep pressing forward and really just kind of load up. You know, look to go out on your shield if you have to. You know, throwing big shots leaves you open for big shots, but, you know, at this point, that's all he's got.
And Janibek, who has been ahead on the cards, as you see what's coming up next, the Arnold Barboza Jr. Mike Alvarado fight. Janibek, who has been ahead most of this fight, you said slow it down a bit there in the 9th. What do you want to see from him here in the 10th? You
know, I want to see him close out the show. You know, this is the 10th round. If he doesn't get the knockout, then I want him to be out there boxing well like he did earlier, not getting hit with any of those punches, not getting smothered, you know, picking his man off from the outside, just like he's doing right now.
Good pace to start this 10th round for Janibek. Dodging those Olivas hooks. Using the shoulder to gain space on Olivas, and then a combination to the side of the head from Janibek.
Nice slick movement there by Janibek, evading all of those shots from Olivas.
Olivas does catch Janibek with a right hook. Janibek goes right back to work with the jab. The uppercut has been effective, both short and long, for Janibek in this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the jab has been consistent throughout. You know, he's hardly missed many, but you know, the uppercut has probably been his second most effective weapon all night long.
Overhand right from Janibek, followed up by a left-handed uppercut when Olivas left his chin exposed, leaning inside, and that's kind of what Chris was telling you in between rounds, that Olivas needs to go for broke, and maybe that sets himself up to receive some big punches from Janibek.
Yeah, Janibek's setting his feet now. He's throwing some hard shots, looking for some hard uppercuts. You know, he might be thinking, I want to get this guy out of here as well.
He's got about a minute and a half to do so.
You know, he has wobbled Olivas several times throughout the bout, usually with single big shots, but was unable to capitalize and get his man out of there or put more damage on him.
No knockdowns and frankly, no real threats of knockdowns by Janibek. It's just been technical scoring punches from Janibek consistently throughout these 10 rounds.
Yes, well put.
No, stop.
So a big breath in there from Janibek as the referee broke them.
Referee Ray Corona has stepped in a couple times. We saw that headbutt in the last round. For the most part, Janibek has kept his distance, not let Olivas get in for any tie-ups or any extracurriculars.
No, Janibek has been in control of where this fight is being waged. You know, when they are in close, it's because he's stepping forward and looking to pressure him. You know, and when he's on the outside, he's in complete control as well.
Janibek has been the volume puncher as well in this fight throughout really the first 6.5, maybe even 7 rounds. Olivas didn't have a ton to back up what Janibek was serving him.
Well, there was so much offense coming his way. He had his hands pinned. You know, he really couldn't get any offense off.
Good combination, the final 10 seconds by Janibek Alimkhanuly as the two fighters a stare down briefly, and then they hug it out, with Janibek hoping the scorecards go in his favor to remain at undefeated in his career, would move him to 6-0 and pick up these 2 vacant belts to take home with him.
We're going to see the replay here of really Janibek scoring early with the jabs in the left hands, you know, popping that uppercut time and time again, getting out of the way of punches from Olivas, countering with great punches after he made a miss. That was one of the shots that actually hurt Olivas, a nice right hook behind the ear. And then as we went later into the fight, we saw Janibek going back to more of a boxing style, fighting at range, keeping Olivas off balance, cutting angles, and just consistently landing the jab, landing the straight left hand, controlling the fight from beginning to end.
Janibek goes the distance against Christian Olivas. Janibek, as Chris mentioned, not necessarily a knockout artist, so as his career progresses, he's going to need to get more and more comfortable going the 10, 12 rounds necessary to take on some of the top opponents as he moves up the ladder in the middleweight division.
Yeah, this is a good experience. This is a good learning experience for Janibek. You know, he got to go 10 rounds. It's only his 6th pro fight, and like you said, you know, he's probably not one of those. He's definitely not one of those one-punch guys. So he's going to see more and more of the final bells in fights, and it's good for him to get that under his belt now.
A little bit of a delay here getting the cards from the judges ringside. It appears that they have been delivered now, and we await Lupe Contreras, our ring announcer, to give us the verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen, after going 10 rounds, the official scorecard reads as follows. Judges Cheek and Russell turn in identical scorecards of 100 to 90. And Judge Cantu scores it 99 to 91. All in favor of the winner by way of unanimous decision. And now, WBC Continental Americas and WBO Global Middleweight Champion, Kazakh style, Janibek Alimkhanuly.
So Janibek leaving Los Angeles with 2